It's interesting, in the days of media training and robotic answers, Dean Henderson, should he be applauded or lambasted for brutal honesty on his Manchester United experience? Now, he's on loan at Nottingham Forest, and he's a more than decent goalkeeper, Trevor, right? You would think.
Yeah.
Henderson opened up on his Manchester United experience. He was in conversation with our own Faye Carruthers. Have a listen to this.
To be quite honest with you, it's probably been the toughest 12 months of my career. It's been tough, it's been hard, and I'm so happy I've got out at the other end of it now, and I'm so excited to be here and ready to go.
Obviously, we know what's been going on at Manchester United. You said you were going to Manchester United to fight for your place with David De Gea. What happened? What were the conversations that you had?
The conversation I had coming out of that Euro squad was, you're coming back here to be the number one goalkeeper, and I got COVID, come back, so I should have still been the number one. But then unfortunately no one followed through with anything they told me. It was frustrating as well, because I turned so many good loans down last summer for that reason, and they wouldn't let me go. So it was frustrating, and to sit there and waste 12 months it's criminal really at my age. I was fuming, but I worked hard off the pitch and on the training pitch to keep improving day in, day out. So I'm really excited to be back here, and looking forward to the season with Forest.
And did you have a conversation with Erik ten Hag when he came in about letting you go out on loan, or what your future would be?
No, I didn't really want the manager to come in and be able to see me in training, because I knew that he'd probably want to keep me. So I sort of tried to do it all before I left for the season. I told all the hierarchy I need to go and play football. I don't want to be here playing second fiddle, and that's how it was planned out. So I was almost gone before the manager came in the door, and I haven't spoke to him since.
Now, shaving in front of my mirror this morning, Simon, I think I heard Alan Brazil say, that's quite refreshing, isn't it, Ali? Because the boy wants to play, and that's why he's gone to Nottingham Forest. What do you think of Henderson in this?
There is an element of that there is something refreshing about a player wanting to play. And there is also an element of that we're very critical of players that trot out nonsense in press conferences and interviews that have no substance behind them and are, as we've said, robotic. And then there's something about the sort of whining and carping of a footballer that hasn't had things go his way and is talking about the worst year of his life because things didn't play out the way he wanted them to play out. There's an element of engaging your mouth and your brain simultaneously and looking at the reality of how people will perceive this. You were given an opportunity to be Man United's number one goalkeeper. You, as a result of football, injuries, COVID, whatever it is, were taken out of commission. The guy that went back in performed really, really well, and so he kept his place. That's how football works. And for you to turn this into a 4-act play about how awful it is for you and how tragic it is and how people have misrepresented things to you and how the world hasn't worked the way you want it to work shouldn't be necessarily the ideal of how we think refreshing speak is. It's a self-indulgent whine. You're playing for Manchester United. Your opportunity on the training ground was to displace David De Gea. That was your opportunity. And to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. What is the tragedy, if you can distill this into a tragedy, if any shape form of it is a tragedy, is that Manchester United have got to a point where players think they can talk about Manchester United and the people that they work for at Manchester United in this way. A player feels like, I'm not even going to turn up to training because I don't want the manager to have an opinion of me, because I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. You signed a 6-year contract with Man United. Guess what you have to do? And I know it's a tragedy for you. You probably have to do as you're told every now and again.
Well, I must admit, I'm with Simon in that completely. My jaw dropped when I heard that.
Listen,
his club's Manchester United.
I like the fact that he's coming out and saying that he's lost a year of his career. He was desperate to play. He's naive, because Simon's explained it perfectly right. You know, football is a dog-eat-dog world. You've got no friends in this game, and whether he was promised the number one jersey or not, he gets COVID. De Gea comes in, does the business. He isn't getting that shirt back, because whatever promises he's been given at the start of the season goes straight out the window as soon as David De Gea starts to play really well.
So what about all this, me, life is so hard?
Well, yeah, listen, it's a difficult time when you're not playing football, whether it's through injury, whether it's through not being selected. It is a difficult time, and when you're on a 6-year contract, you can't get out on loan because the club weren't prepared to let him go on now. It's frustrating as a player because you want to play football. I understand that.
Commend him for speaking that way.
Yeah.
Commend him for wanting to play, because a lot of players are quite prepared to sit on the bench.
Correct. But what I would say is the fact that I think he's been quite harsh towards Manchester United. And I think he might have damaged his relationship with Manchester United slightly. And on top of that...
I would say just a bit.
And on top of that, what he said about if I went into training and Erik ten Hag seen me, and knew that I would play, he's putting pressure on himself now at Nottingham Forest to do the business. Because if he doesn't hit the ground running at Nottingham Forest, people are going to say, talk's a talk, but you can't walk the walk.
You're right, Trevor. If he throws one in, they'll turn on him.
But that's fine, because ultimately, at the end of the day, you're only as good as your performances, right? And he has a right to express his disappointment. But where he's gone beyond and over the line is he can express the relief that he can go and play first-team football. He can look forward to the challenge of Nottingham Forest. He can talk about the fact that he was disappointed last year not to get into the first team because that's what he wanted to do. And my opportunity is this. To then go to basically go and pee on people's parade and turn it into a situation where everybody is supposed to feel sorry for Dean Henderson because he wasn't able to displace David De Gea. He wasn't able, not anybody else, he wasn't able to displace David De Gea. And so basically what he's saying is, if I'd gone into goal and I'd stunk the place out, because I was told at the beginning of the season I was guaranteed number one, I should have been ad infinitum, ad nauseum. Oh, grow up, you child. You're in a fabulous football club. You're being paid a fabulous amount of money. It's disappointing he didn't get games last year. Get on and have some backbone and get on with it rather than doing a ridiculous interview where you're seeming to want to elicit some sympathy from anybody.
So where are you with this? And I'm somewhat confused, Simon. You applaud him on one respect, but you're lambasting him on the other.
I applaud the integrity of a footballer that's much happier playing than picking up his salary and nicking a living because it suits him to do so. And we can give a list as long as a Magna Carta of people that are prepared to do that. So I admire his desire to want to play because he's absolutely right. It's a year out of his career. He hasn't played games. He should want to play. You should question somebody that's actually comfortable sitting there doing nothing.
That's it.
But the method of delivery is wrong.
It's just naive. I think he's naive the way he's delivered it.
Yeah. So Henderson's speaking out there. I mean, as we say, should he be applauded or lambasted for brutal honesty on his Manchester United experience? Keen to know your thoughts on that, because he didn't miss, did he? I mean, Manchester United are hardly going to commend him for his honest approach here, Trevor, are they?
No, it's a big boy sport, and if you're not the best, you're not going to play.
What do you think his teammates...
He wasn't the best last season, and that's why he didn't play. It's as simple as that.
What do you think his one-time teammates at United will be thinking this morning when they hear that?
I think they'll understand his frustration of not playing.
Poor old Dean.
You know, and the fact that you know, throughout my career, you always need a bit of luck to go your way. He got COVID. That was the bad bit of luck that he had, which took him out of the team.
If you look at that bunch of mental minnows, I think they should worry about themselves rather than what Dean Henderson's doing. I think most of those guys in that dressing room are bleeding flakes. They need to get on with their own jobs rather than what Dean Henderson's complaining about.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.